Firstly, thank you very much for your time and talking to GameSpot today. Obviously, this week, Sony has talked a lot about Vita and your plans for the handheld. Are you able to tell us internally what your benchmarks for success for the console is? Are there any numbers that you're able to share at all?
Well, we are talking about, the success of PSP. We are pretty much happy with the numbers we've done with PSP, over 70 million, maybe 71 or million so far. And we are talking about at least, in the lifetime of PSP that we'd like to do a similar number or even better. So that's our goal.
Okay. Now, obviously, there's two different units coming out. You have Wi-Fi only and you have 3G only. Are there any expectations about what consumers will prefer, one over the other?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I say interesting because, we have lots of discussions, between the headquarters and each regions and territories. And the reactions come back, differently, from different countries. But overall, it's interesting to see people like early adopters. My personal expectations is early adopters would go for 3G and Wi-Fi model because, myself being the early adopter of many things, tend to pick the most premium model when I have choices. But we really believe the importance of having the options to consumers because $250 is still a lot of money for many people, so we believe that for certain group of people price is very important. So I would say personally 50-50 is my personal expectation.
So you also revealed the Japanese launch lineup this week. I believe it's 26 titles. Can you tell me a little bit about what your plans are for post-launch? Do you have an expectation of how many games in the following months will come out for Vita?
Yeah, so I just take the examples from Worldwide Studio. So we've been showing a lot of titles from our studios. And amongst the 26 titles that we announced for the launch of Japanese market, 3 of 26 were studio titles. It's Uncharted, Golden Abyss, Little Deviants, and Hot Shots Golf 6. So that means, we've been showing a lot more Worldwide Studio titles, Wipeout, or, Little Big Planet, Mod Nation Racers, Sound Shapes. These games will come out, later. We have a very good feel that every month, after the launch, we'll see some key titles coming out in Japan, and of course, all these titles will be ready, in theory, for the launch of Vita in US and European market.
So you expect that there will be more, like over and above the 26 that's launched in Japan when it eventually hits Western markets?
Yeah. In the press conference that SC Japan had, Kano-san announced that there are, over 100 titles in development, and he showed lots of names of those titles.
Now, obviously, one of your competitors has not been having a great time in the handheld space recently. Have you been looking at, what's happened with the 3DS, and has that affected your strategy at all in the lead up to the launch of Vita?
Not really. It's been interesting to see, the evolution or the things that Nintendo has been doing. But that's, their strategy. They may be reacting to the post-launch, business of theirs. But we've been dead focused on the strategy that we have, and we are pretty much very, very happy that we've been hitting all of the goals that we set to ourselves, like launch by the end of this year. We are able to announce the launch of Vita in Japan on December 17th. We already set the goal to launch starting end of this year. So we are doing it, and we have both 3G Wi-Fi model and Wi-Fi model ready, and we have the largest number of titles to go with the launch in Japan in the history of PlayStation hardware. And I'm personally very happy that we have Uncharted and Hotshot. Hotshot is really popular in Japan, and Little Deviants show off the unique capability of Vita. So our studio is able to support the launch of Vita with significant titles. So I'm very, very happy.
Now, one of the other strong focuses for the handheld is a focus on downloadable content. So you're going to have all of the games available on the store at the same time as retail. What sort of reaction has that elicited from retailers and publishers?
I think people understand it's about the time, this is happening, and I think people are very, very receptive to the idea, especially for consumers. They'll have the options. Some people really like to go all digital. They don't want to carry around, different cartridges or discs, anymore. They want everything on one place, and they can do that. Or some people would like to go to the store and shop in the store and purchase some physical media and play the games right away. So we are offering the options.
Now, I don't know if you had a chance to look out on the TGS floor yet, but I think about a quarter of it is now made up of mobile phone games. Now, I know that in the past Sony execs have said that they don't see gaming as a threat, but is it something that potentially could take away oxygen or noise about the Vita launching? Do you see it crowding into that same mind space that in the consumer's head?
Well, as far as launch of Vita is concerned, I don't think the popularity of smartphone gaming has anything to do. At the launch, there are lots of gamers are really excited about PS Vita. When the two markets collide is when you look at the very, very casual audience. The casual people always play games on medium that they don't have to purchase additional hardware like on the PC or like on social media, and it's the same. The cell phone games with the ability to download very quickly. And in many cases for free, that's great for casual audience. And PS Vita, of course, has the capability to handle these type of games as well. But for people who are interested to just spend some time, kill some time with some easy to get into games and don't want to spend much money to play games. They would look for smartphones. So when we try to expand the market for PS Vita, down the road, we'd like to see how those casual audience would embrace what we'll be offering at the time on PS Vita.
Now, I guess it's been almost a year, maybe 10 months or 9 months since you first officially unveiled Vita to the world. How have you found the reaction from gamers out there? Have you been happy with the response so far?
Absolutely, very, very strong. In some respects, the reaction has been stronger than we were kind of expecting. So it's great because we spend a lot of time to test the features and form factors and device and system software capabilities, and every time we show some new aspect of PS Vita, we get very, very strong reactions. We were feeling that happening when we started showing the PS Vita to the third-party developers and publishers. They really grabbed onto the idea of PS Vita, and they really liked how they feel when they hold PS Vita in their hands. So we are getting pretty good feeling. But when we started really giving chance to consumers to play games on PS Vita, we are so happy how they are tweeting or blogging or writing to us how excited they are and how good it feels. I've been checking the tweets and blogs from people who were here in TGS yesterday, and there are lots of strong positive comments. So that's super exciting.
I was going to say, are you going to walk on the floor later and just see how everyone is reacting to it?
Well, when I was there at TGS booth, I felt sorry for people waiting in line. Many games had over 60 minutes of wait. And I like what SC Japan did so that everyone who is waiting in line had a good view of the large screen, showed all the trailers of PS3, PS Vita and PSP titles, and they're watching the trailers.
So obviously this is completely speculative. In the event of a new PlayStation console coming out in the future, do you have plans to have the same level of compatibility as you currently do now with the PS3 with the Vita?
Oh, you mean you mean connectivity? Yeah. I think connectivity, not just between PlayStation devices, but across different devices, is going to be more and more important, and it's something people expect more. For example, we announced the project PlayStation Suite, yesterday. We talked about the SDK that small developers can develop software on some Android devices as well as PS Vita. So there will be more and more contents and network services that will be available across different types of devices. And when you looked at what we showed yesterday, what we can do, you can do between PS Vita and PS3 and compare that to what we were able to do between PSP and PS3. The advancement of technology really allows something very, very interesting when you connect two powerful devices together. So when we add in the future a new family to PlayStation products, it's going to be very well connected to other parts of the family.
Speaking of PlayStation Suite, what are, I guess, the latest plans to add even more games to the Xperia Play range as well?
Well, Xperia is the Android phones, so it plays, basically, most of the Android games, as I understand, and they also plays some PS1 EMU games that we are providing. So from Xperia Play standpoint, they've been working to expand the availability of Android games optimized for the unique capability of the device. That I understand from talking with Sony Ericsson people. And from PS Suite standpoint, what we announced yesterday is a new SDK that we will release the beta version in November, so that developers can create new contents or port their contents onto the SDK, so that they can release on PS Store starting next springtime for PS Vita as well as certain Android devices. So what we've been doing to support Xperia Play with releasing PS1 EMU title is just a very small part of overall plans under PS Suite project.
One last question then. Obviously, the Japanese release date was announced for Vita this week. When can we expect you guys to tell more about the international release dates?
Yeah, so between, we've been saying the launch in the US and Europe, launch date is early next year. And the exact date will be announcing them pretty soon. That, I hope. I'm